a minute for it to do it. This is all the right timing. Oh, see where you've got the camera pointed? You just need to, oh, no, that one. See where you've got it zoomed in on? You just need to open it up, thanks. Yeah, or just click the, yep. Easy. That's nice, a nice looking photo. And I'll just stick this in there. Right with that, we've got our background music in ready to play. You need to turn it on first. No, I've turned that, yeah, that's your power button. I think, yeah. So that's about, is that nice and wide? Oh, hang on, we've just played with that. Yeah, we'll just put that on auto focus here. Alright, that's that one. Good. Lovely. We can turn that up and get it ready. Oh, you're putting the sock on here, or are you doing that afterwards? Once you've got it going. Yep. That's right. Yep. Okay. Well, that's about it. Do this. alright, that'll be fine. Or even around. Yep, just around here. Yep.
Or next to you, maybe, so then I'm not where everyone.
You're just out of vision, but we can move you forward at the right time. Okay? So if you, I was going to say,
You just
how about you just leave everything here, and at the right time, just move you around.
Perfect.
Just where we were carrying around.
Oh, yes.
And we might just put something on top of this, stop it blowing away, because I can play some way and light it that way.
Wonder what I could put on.
Not that rock.
No.
Maybe we just.
Oh, no, I'll take them on my notes. Is this on a particular page?
Yeah, it is, but that's okay. And then, yeah, that's perfect.
Easy.
Awesome.
And we've got time. Okay.
And then I'll start you make sure it's in tune. Do you have your phone?
Just so long as if you guys have evening scan I'll just make sure you do that before we start it. It's not a hard.
Yeah, nice. The rose on the end of the coffin.
Yes.
No one can see you, I know visually. I'd probably be doing with the herring or hopping around some of it, but I'll ask the mirrors for example, backwards a little bit, turn around with the probably go around. Usually our paper has face to say, or face to you, or how you say it. And then I'll ask if you want to move around either of some of the hands or just around there a little bit if you like. Yep, yeah, and you Just rotate round to your right hand side again. Just get 1 foot up and 1 foot down as you're walking along. Thank you. Right go. Slow it down. That's beautiful. Thank you very much. Okay, just before we start Joy's funeral here this afternoon, now's the opportunity. If you've got a phone, just make sure it's turned in the silent position, if that's okay, because over the next half an hour or so is a time when we don't really need to be connected to the outside world. And the reason we don't need to be, because we're drawn here, because Joy was part of your life, and you're also a part of hers as well. My name's Ian McQueen, and I count it as a privilege to have been asked to help you celebrate and remember her life here this afternoon. Her death has brought a sad change to the lives of many of you. Remember the special relationships that she had with each one of you. Beloved wife of Rod for 62 years, and a much-loved mother and mother-in-law to Gillian and Gavin, to Michael and David, my apologies Michael, and Peter, and a loved Granny Joy to Ashley and Letitia, Bradley and Abby, Renee and Heath, Tori and Casey, Tani and Zach, Sydney, Sienna and Patrick, and a great Granny Joy to Aria, Jack, Connor, Hugh, and one to come. And I didn't ask how far away baby is. You know, all of our lives are going to be a little bit different because nothing can or forever will be quite the same without her being around. And although she's been in Melaleuca for a little while, our times have changed. You need to take time to make adjustment to your own lives because we need to adjust our lives where joy physically isn't going to be in our presence. But although physically she mightn't be here with us, you do have something that no one can ever take away from you, and that is the wonderful memories that you have of her. It doesn't matter how long we live upon this earth, and one surety is that none of us really know how long we are going to be here. It's how we live that makes all the difference. But when someone who has been such a large part of your life passes away, our instinctive human reaction is to grieve. It's a natural human reaction, and we grieve in such a personal way and an individual way. But one thing remains the same for each one of us. We can only feel grief where we have felt love. It's the same path that runs through our lives. And so quite often it can be, I guess there's no really correct term, like a mixed bag of emotions. You can be sad that joy's gone from us, but also at the same time be grateful and be happy for the many qualities that she possessed, the many things that she passed on to you, whether it be as a mum or a grandma or a great-grandma as such. These are special things that will remain with each one of you forever. I've met up with Joy from time to time, and my wife has, and a lot of the members of our Stansbury community certainly have. And I'm aware of some of the work that she's done that we have hanging in our local community church when she's assembled little patchworks and put them together that they have done over the years. But now I'm going to invite Gillian to come forward along with the rest of the family to share with us Joy's life story.
Joy was born on the 14th of October in 1938, the second child to Doris and Bernard Vince. She had one older sibling, Roger. The family first lived at Ross Anderson's farm and then moved to Wall Bay when Joy was 1. Rumour has it that this is the first time Rod met Joy. The Vince family then moved to Park Terrace in Stansbury when Joy was 4 years old, and she continued to live there until she married Rod. Joy went to Stansbury School for 7 years. She often travelled on the handlebars of Roger's bike until she progressed to riding her own bike. For her secondary schooling, she caught the bus to Yorktown until she was 14 years old. She left school to work in Hill's shop, a job she really enjoyed as she got to mingle and chat with people, something she continued to do with enthusiasm during her life. Mum always played sport. She played basketball and was always practising goals in the backyard. She started playing A-grade when she was 15, and all of her practice paid off when she was selected as goalie in the night competition at Yorktown. She was the inaugural winner of the Best and Fairest for the association. She injured her knee at 18 and retired from basketball at 20. She told the story that she was in mid-air shooting a goal when she heard her knee crack. We all know she never let the truth get in the way of a good story. I think she inherited this attribute from her father, Tom Vince. She had surgery on her knee and lifted weights to build up her muscles for years. That knee went on to cause her trouble for the rest of her life. She also played tennis, golf and bowls, winning many awards and finals over the years. Mum had a long and successful tennis partnership with Mrs. Marg Shaw, which she really enjoyed. But I think the advent of mixed doubles really brought out her competitiveness, and she liked nothing better than to try and pass the opposition male player when he was up at net. Mum played golf at Stansbury and was club champion many times. When she moved to Yorktown, she was runner-up club champion to Beth Young for 18 consecutive years. Joy married Rod Farrow on September the 6th in 1958 in the Stansbury Methodist Church and moved to Wool Bay to live for the next 54 years. They quickly added to their family with 3 children in 4 years. I was born in 1960, Mike was born in 1961 and Peter in 1963. Farming and family kept them busy for the next few decades. Mum's greatest love was family and providing everything for them. Mum was a bit of a hoarder. She liked to keep everything because you knew when someone might need it, and she liked to have it on hand. She had enough fabric on hand to complete full wardrobes for the whole district. She loved to cook. She was famous in our family for banana sponge rolls. Renee is now learning how to make these, and if we are lucky, we might get to try one today. Over the years, our shearers enjoyed some of the best lunches. Hang on, change the pages. In our shearing shed. Joy continued to provide a fully catered shed when everyone else moved to bring your own. She enjoyed providing this service to the shearers and was thrilled when she received compliments. And it certainly made getting shearers easier. Whenever my family was visiting, when my children were young, she would offer a 5-choice breakfast menu and then make each child exactly what they wanted. This made her an indulgent and popular granny. She stepped up as main sausage roll maker when Doris stopped making them. They are still part of our family Christmas tradition, and I think Peter has taken over this position. She also followed in her mother's footsteps, making many wedding and bridesmaids dresses. She was always happy to make or alter clothes for anyone. There was never a time in my childhood when Mum wasn't in her sewing room working on something. I remember her first full wedding. There were 8 bridesmaids, all in purple floral. They were all sisters. It made it difficult to move from one room of the house to the other, as every door frame had a purple dress hanging on it in various stages of construction. She also made the bride and the mother of the bride dresses. I think everyone was relieved when it was finally the wedding day. Dad says she still charged 25 cents an hour. From 1972, Joy taught adult education dressmaking, sharing her talents with many local women. More recently, she shared her skills with the ladies at the Wednesday morning craft book. Joy was involved in caring grandmother to her 7 grandchildren and their partners. She tried to teach them many of her sewing and craft skills, but I don't think she was any more successful with them than she was with me. She played many card games with her granddaughters, and I'm sure that she wasn't above taking a sneaky look at their hands if they held them out too far. Sienna obviously learnt this life skill from her. The game of spoons was hilarious when she played with the kids. Her reflexes were not as quick as they used to be, but that didn't stop her from cheating and laughing. Joy loves spending time with her great-grandchildren and always enjoyed and was always entertained by their antics. Aria in particular loved Granny's motorbike and always asked to be taken for a ride on Granny's lap. It was a little dangerous. Joy and Rod moved to Stansbury in 2013, choosing a block near the Bowls Club, where Joy continued to play bowls for the Stansbury Club, then becoming the club patron when she retired. Joy underwent another lot of knee surgery in 2018, which wasn't very successful, and she failed to regain her mobility. Dad quickly took on the role of her carer and learned a whole new skill set. Our phone calls home took on a whole new topic, as he would run us through his menus and how good they were. His ability to cook and clean allowed Joy to stay at home until 2020, when she moved into Melaleuca in Milton, where her mobility and engagement with the world continued to decline. She received exceptional care for all of the staff, and our family will forever be indebted to them for their patience, love and care of Mum during her 10 months there. Mum passed away peacefully on July the 18th, 2021. Rest in peace.
Okay, I just want to talk about the sentiment of Mum a bit. Okay. Marlene Joy Farrow, known as Joy, and Joy is what she brought to everybody's life. Mum is in the same mould as her mother, Doris, or Nana Dottie, was a giver. She gave mostly time to everybody, everyone and everybody. A lot of this time she gave away was through her exceptional cooking and seamstress skills. Everybody that knows her has a memory of her food, her dressmaking, or her sports ability. She devoted herself to being the best wife, mother and grandmother to her family, which she always put first. She held unconditional love for all of us, and we all felt that in different ways. She was the kind of lady who always takes the burnt end of the cake or the crust off the bread loaf. She would feed everyone else the good stuff first, and she'd be the one with the smallest serve, or even just an egg on toast if there wasn't enough to go around. Mum was the last of a special breed of people. She prided herself on how well she could look after everybody around her. In addition to her amazing cooking, her caring nature came through in her exceptional seamstress skills. I know my daughters were often mannequins for her incredible wedding dresses. I may have even been called in once or twice when there was no one else around. And I think she got a little bit of joy out of sticking you with a pin every now and again as well. Mum was the hang on, that's it. She spent many hours fixing holes in working shirts or anything that could be given a second life. Being the ultimate tight ass, her specialty was saving a pair of working pants with dozens of patches already on them. 30-something years ago, she decided she was going to make underwear for a few of us, and Gavin and I ended up with blue singlets. And I've worn that singlet every week for 30 years, and the damn thing just will not wear out. I don't know what the Bonds factory does, but they should have taken a leaf out of Joy's book. I remember my first years in the workforce after school. I was shearing down at Corny Point, getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. She would always have my lunch made and my hot breakfast on the table. It didn't matter what time I got up or what time I came home, she'd be up early or late, making sure I was fed and running food out to me on the tractor. After a hard day's work, we always looked forward to coming home because of what a warm and lovely place she made it. For the years that I lived and worked at home after school, Mum lovingly fed me, cleaned my clothes and looked after me like a prince. This love didn't stop with me. Mum treated Renee, Tani and Sienna like princesses too. On their sick days off from school, she'd give them a bell so they could ring for her whenever they needed anything. I think they wanted to stay home from school just to feel like royalty for the day. Although I do think Sienna tried to wear her bell out once and she took it away. And of course, the many, many birthday cakes she made exactly to the kids' demands, exactly how they wanted them, of course. We all know Mum was great at cooking, but she wasn't that great at making bread. Her one and only try at making bread, and the damn thing just wouldn't rise. Annoyed at her efforts, she took it out of the oven and fed it to the cat. Only after the cat finished did the bread rise. The poor cat, in moans on the back veranda, in agony near the back door, with a well-risen loaf of bread in its belly. And unfortunately, the cat passed away. The first and final attempt at baking bread for Mum. Mum was a skilled and competitive sports person in any game, whether at netball, tennis, bowls or golf. She played strategically with determination. Off the green, she was an active and beloved member of the community, always contributing her time to local clubs and somehow making time for everybody in them. Mum was loved by many and she did these amazing things for all these people in her life. She cared for everyone around her. She never had any idea of the true value of her work or the mark she left on all of us through her kindness.
I wrote a poem, The Presence of Beauty. Beauty can be found in the thread sewn through your blue formal dress. It is that sensation as the lily-pilly melts in your mouth, the jovial, cruel earnest when you call me old maid, or the redundant perfection of an ironed hanky. Beauty happens when mastery overcomes youth, a tenacious backhand sending the ball far from reach, bright yellow roses in a small crystal vase, the sound of a hum as the table gets dressed, the simple chime of the dinner bell, a shrill echoing joy, aromas of corned beef, roast lamb and crumbed whiting. Beauty is patience to watch us make mistakes, to say, yes, you may, when the game's almost yours, to teach us to knit, to sew, to laugh, to play, to care when we fell, and then nurse. Granny, you are the presence of beauty. The kindness you give, the friendships you make, beauty flows through all that you do, through every smile and every song. Thank you for bringing your beauty to this world and for leaving some behind in our memories, in our children, and in our hearts.
Sienna, would you like to come forward?
Oh no. Took my love and I took it down. Climbed a mountain and I turned around, and I saw my reflection in the snow-covered hill till the landslide brought me down. Oh, mirror in the sky, what is new? Can the child within my heart rise above? Can I sail through the changing ocean tide? Can I handle the seasons of my life? Oh, well, I've been But time makes you bolder. Children get older, and I'm getting older too. Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I built my life around you. But time makes you bolder. Children get older, and I'm getting older too. Well, take this love and I take it down. Yeah, if you climb the mountain and you turn around, if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills, will the landslide draw you down? And if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills, well, maybe, well, maybe the landslide will bring you down.
That song was so special because it reflects back on the very reason why we're here today, the fact our life is full of changes. And our lives have been changed in just so many ways. It doesn't matter what the circumstances are or what the age. If someone who's been part of our life, when they pass away, our lives are affected. But it's important as we're gathered here today that we don't leave this place with gloom and doom and despair, but we need to remember how Joy lived her life, how she filled her time. She filled her time probably more than 24 hours a day. She managed to squeeze in a few extra hours, achieving what she did, not only for you, her family, but for us, her community. Her love of life, her joy of living, no pun intended with that, will be remembered, and she will be remembered as a loving woman, a loyal friend, and a strong commitment to her family, to her husband, to those who are not here today, and that's you, Michael. She'll be remembered as a person with an exceptional skill, not only being a talented dressmaker and seamstress, but on the sporting field, as we heard as well, the ability to bring happiness to those around her as well. But at the same time, a lady who carried on with her life with dignity as well. especially in her final days as well. We need to remember the wisdom that she bestowed upon each one of you, whether you know it or not. There's a little bit of her in each one of you, her love and particularly her devotion to you all. If you're comfortable, would you like to join with me in saying the traditional version of the Lord's Prayer? If prayer's not your thing, maybe just bow your head and we'll just think back on Joy at this time. Let us pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, for ever and ever. Amen. There's one certainty in life, and that is that we're going to pass away. Death is inevitable in our lives. Grief follows naturally. But the best thing that we can do is to support each other in these times. Living in the country is great. Passing away here isn't a bad thing either, because we have family and friends to support us at these times. And the way that you're supporting each other today hopefully will be returned to you in your time of need, whenever that may be. I feel pretty confident after sitting down with family that Joy would be probably relatively satisfied with what was happening here today. She might have think probably we've all carried on and had a bit too much, it might be a little bit longer than what she would have really liked. She wasn't into all the pomp and ceremony a whole lot. But she would have loved with the fact that she has had not only family members singing, but the way that you've sung and presented yourself here today is just something that doesn't always happen in families. And I think it's almost a reflection of a little bit of her working through you at this time. When you're having refreshments or when you're having afternoon tea a little bit later or however you're going to be meeting, it's a time when you can share your stories, and I'm sure you do have many stories of her. Joy, we're coming to the time when we're going to be laying you to rest in this community of those who have gone on before. We remember the special qualities that you had. So as we come forward here, you're in amongst friends, some who have gone on before you. So it is reverently and tenderly that we lay you to rest. We say earth to earth, ashes to ashes, and dust to dust. Your life has made a contribution in so many ways. We are glad that you walked in our company. It's your life that we've honoured here this afternoon, but it's your memory that we will take with us forever. May you now rest in peace. Before we leave this place, I'd like to share with you the Celtic blessing, which is probably pretty appropriate just for where we are at the moment. May the road rise up to meet you, the wind always be at your back, the sun shine warm upon your face, the rain fall soft upon your fields, and until we meet again, may God hold you in the hollow of his hand. Joy, we're leaving you here in peace, and as we go on our own ways, we will go with continued care and concern for one another. May you now rest in peace. I know there are quite a few of you who have been watching and joining with the family online. And on behalf of the family, I'd like to thank you for doing this and being part of the family circle. If you'd like a DVD, please feel free to contact us either through our Facebook page or our web page. We'll post one out to you. The live stream will stay until everyone has placed a flower on top of Joy's coffin, and then we'll be disconnecting the live stream. It'll be readily available for about a month from today before it's taken down. Once again, Michael and the rest of your family and friends who are unable to be here, thank you for being here today with your family and your mum. Now I'm going to invite you to come forward. We're having a little bit of background music played, and as you come forward, you're welcome to take a flower, to place it upon Joy's coffin, and as you do that, it's probably an opportune time where you might like to just quietly pause and give thanks that she was a part of your life, and you also a part of hers. For those of you who are watching online, we'll be concluding the live stream now. Once again, thank you for joining with the Farrow family and celebrating Joy's life.